baha njiwe gbapụna ala agbọbụ wee lawa n'ọtụ bụ ọ maka Ebuka nwanne m nwoke join ndị black and black join ndị ebube agụ bịazi na terrorize agbọbụ niile ha na-ejikwa abata ha wakpo ma ha ga na-alasa ma ala mmanụ gbagbuo mmadụ ebe ọ na-agara ihe na agba ọbụ ha na-abịa na mmadụ anyhow.
Nigeria government have succeeded in using our own brothers against us. So my fellow Biafrans, just take one of your time and listen to this our brother that people are seeing on my screen. After you finish listening to him, do not forget to share this particular video and also drop your opinion in the comment section because your opinion matters a lot. His brother joined black Ebubag people to start killing their community. So no me talk more, but just take one of your time and listen to this voice. After you finish listening to this voice, do well to share this video and also comment so that other people can be able to watch this particular video. A lot of things is going on now in Imo State which we don't know, and we have to fight and keep ourselves protected. One love.
All these days, here I'm Bob. Master can juggle, here I'm Bob Don. Can hear me beside the Bob.
Namo, you gonna allow Bob Jure Baha, Babna, allow Bob, where Lavan not to go. Oh, my Ebuka. Ebuka, one name worker, join in the black and black. Join in the Bubago. There's na terrorize above Nile. Ha na-ejikwa abata ha wakpo ma ha ga na-alasa ma ala mmanụ gbagbuo mmadụ ebe ọ na-agara ihe na agba ọbụ ha na-abịa na mmadụ anyhow.
Onge Uduala.
Ọmụ Ọdụala na-ekwu ya.
Okay. Dekwu inekwu.
So ọmụ Ọdụala ha na-ekwu ya. Ijikwara m ihe mere Ebuka, ihe na-esere mmiri Ebuka na-awụ na m gwara ya okwu na nna m otuchigbu nne ga adịghị mma. Onye na-esere mmiri. Ịma na ndị mmadụ na-ala ka gwa ha eziokwu. Onye gwara ihe o mere na-adịghị njọ ya hụtawa asajọ mmadụ. Onye na-ese mmiri Ebuka, mmiri ya nwoke ala, onye na-ese mmiri ya atọ ndị ọfọ ndị na ọ na m gwara ya nna m otuchi wee gbuo nne ga adịghị mma. And onye nchọpụta na ọ ka nne ya o gburu ka o jiri ga join na ndị a ka ha were kpuchie ihe ahụ.
Okay, nkịta na ihe na-eme na onwe ndị agbagbo kwuru okwu ihe na-eme na obodo nna ahụ.
Nwanne m nke bụ eziokwu mgbe ya mere so ndị agbagbo m na okwutere okwu ndị ụmụdike platfọm ndị ụmụdike ụsara mmanụ na platfọm ahụ oge m gwara ha ihe arụ na-eme n'obodo ha sị m na ha ga-eji nwaanyị ka mara ihe ga-eme ya ma a ga-eji nwaanyị chi na-enwu ya ka nkụ amaoji na ịbata amaoji everywhere ada ọnụ owu obele ka mmadụ ebizi ihe ụmụdike anyị niile agbanwụchana ife na ha manchara nwesị ndị n'ebe ahụ ọwala mmanụ ọwụ ụmụ edi sọsọ ebe ahụ mmadụ na ala agba ọ bụ iburu andị ụmụ eshe ndị a bipụrụ ebe saịda afta oji agbọ ndị a ebe gị ahụ mmadụ olee anyị ha ebe a na-adị ọnụmahịa etinye ebe a na obodo atawachara
onwe na village
ebe na-agbasa Ebuka
maka ihe Ebuka
maka ọsọ Ebuka gwa ka nga na-agbasi Ebuka ụzọ ọsọ na-agba na nke ikpeazụ a
mgbe na ụmụnna m na ihe o kwuru.
biko ana m akpọ logo nchamanụ Nkechi mba ọnụ nne biko ọsọ agbachara na bena biko ọsọ agbachara na agba ọbụ agbọbọ ka igwe and ndị na-eme ihe agwụkwara ndị anọ n'obodo eti ha bịara zụrụ nwanne anyị nwoke Ebuka jizie na-achụ anyị na-egbucha biko unu tere anyị aka and adịghị bidoro kamgbe almost 2 years and na ndị ụmụọmọchi na agbọbụla kama ha lara na agbọbụ ka ndị aji bezie igbuzi anyị amaghịzi m na agbụkwajọ mmadụ biko ga na-akpọkwa ndị haus biko nchadon maazị biko unu tinyere ihe nke anya mgbe anyị nwechasịrị n'obodo ma ndị nne ma ndị nna zi obodo agwụna mgbe ụmụ ọkụkọ biko nunu unu benye anya ka biko na nke a na too much ama m ka m si ekwuzi ekwu lele m na abana m ala na m lawa north ebe m ṅụrụ iyi n'ụwa na-aga maka ọgwụ ebe nọzi na biko nye anya ka biko.
Now let me tell you, the Nigerian government preferred Mazi Nnamdi Kanu kind of agitation for Biafra more than they preferred Simon Ekpa's own. Now ask me why. You know, Simon Ekpa was very, very brutal on Nigeria government. He was very aggressive, very stubborn, very arrogant. Simon Ekpa was not considerate. He was not, there was nothing like mercy or romancing the agitation. He was very, very hard on the Nigeria government. You see, when you look at the two and balance it, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was considerate. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was considering the fact that there are people, there are lives, there are people that he is protecting because he had that love and that feeling. But Simon Ekpa, carrying anger, what Simon Ekpa was doing is he was acting out of Iwe Ihe Merendi Igbo. So he had the opportunity. He was not looking at the faces of the enemy. He was not considering the enemy. He was hitting them hard. And that is why, if you remember vividly, you will notice that time Christopher Musa was visiting Channel Television, Arise TV, TVC News. He was appearing in all kinds of television stations, talking about Simon Ekpa this, Simon Ekpa that, Simon Ekpa this. And Simon Ekpa was actually claiming responsibility for all the things that were happening that period. When this one happened, he go say yes. When this happened, he go admit, he say yes. That was one of the Simon Ekpa's mistake. Now, to crown everything all, if we are to get Biafra fast, we need to adopt the approach, the method, the strategy Simon Ekpa was using. Because the only language these people understand is hard. They know they hear the language of romancing the words. That is why the Nigerian government fears Simon Ekpa more than Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, Nigerian government fear Simon Ekpa 100% more than Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And that is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was working with Simon Ekpa. You remember when that statement come up when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say, work with Simon Ekpa. This is the man that is fighting the same cause. This is the man that stands on the same lane that I stand. This is the same man that believes in the same vision I believe. How many of you remember when that statement was made? So when you look at it all, psychologically, you will understand that if we were to get Biafra faster, we need to adopt that method of Simon Ekpa, adopt that strategy of Simon Ekpa. When we say, no mercy, no romance, this thing, no try to make them feel any atom of peace, just pressure. That was what Nigerian government was scared about Simon Ekpa. Because if Simon Ekpa had been free till today, maybe saying still they free and now they talk, the matter for not be like this. So, anyways, peace and love. What?
My father is from Asaba, but he is Igbo, and that is what we are talking about here. That makes me come from the south as a geopolitical zone and an Igbo man.
You are from the Anioma Ushimili side of the river Niger, and we hear that people who are not mainstream Igbos, the Igbos in Delta, the Igbos in rivers, Igbo subgroups, are also good enough to represent Igbos. But the dilemma here is that people from all the other ethnic groups that we mentioned, they also belong to the South. They are not mainstream Igbos. So why is this, a big issue about we are also Igbos? Because if the thing goes to Igbo land, we too are part of the Igbos. And if so, who are your favorite candidates, possible candidates from the marginal Igbo group?
You talked about mainstream Igbo. What is that? I don't think there's anything called mainstream Igbo. Because, you see, if we go back a little bit in history, even from the coup that brought, that truncated Nigerians' democracy as far as I'm concerned and put us in the country which seemed to be in 1966, one of the major participants was a young man he was a major, Zogo. He's from Okpanam. Okpanam is just 2 minutes away from Asaba. It's more or less the same place as Asaba, which makes him an Oshimili Igbo person. From that axis, the Anyocha Oshimili area, we speak exactly the same kind of, when I have a discussion with any brother of mine across the Niger, he understands what I'm saying. There might be little fluctuations of one word. We can say shine, they can say rine, and little things like that. But in the main, it is the same dialect, it is the same language. Now, when you look at even the effort of the Biafran War, and I want to talk about personal experience here, you will see that the Oshimili Anyocha Igbos were even the ones that bore most of the brunt of that war. But in terms of course, the Asaba massacre is known to everybody. I don't think any town, either in the southeast or anywhere in Nigeria, suffered as much as the Asaba people did with the kind of killings and the program that went on in Asaba on that fateful day. Why was that so? If you think those people, the federal troops did not have enough intelligence to tell them that this town was solidly behind the Biafran agitation. My late father was a medical doctor who was practicing in Benin at the time when the Civil War broke out. I was barely 6 years old, my two elder sisters. And my mom is of the Yoruba extraction. She had a choice of taking us to her parents in Ibadan where they were living. But she said, no, wherever my husband is going, I'm going to go with my husband. And they put us in 2 cars and we went across. They went to look for an old friend of his that they were all in Benin, who lived in Oka, Chief Dom Musu Njikoka, as they called him. And we stayed with him in his house in Oka, and both families became one, and thereafter we ran from one town to the other throughout the 30 months of the Biafran Civil War. Obviously, if my father did not take us away, possibly I might not even have been here, because the children were killed, women were killed. There is no family in Asaba that did not suffer the loss of one person or the other, a man, woman, or child. Because don't forget, when those federal troops came to Asaba, the idea was that, oh, come and welcome the federal troops, they are here. And they all gathered the people in the open field, and then they opened fire on them. So whenever I hear this talk about Igbo presidency, and people are trying to say there is some subgroup of Igbo or there's mainstream Igbo, it doesn't resonate with me. Because, you see, the Anyama people, or rather the Oshimili Anyocha people, will always be shortchanged in Nigeria. Let me tell you a little story. In 1999, when the new democracy started, it was everywhere. It was an open secret that the person that was tipped to be the secretary to the Federation at that time was Chief Philip Asiodu. He is my godfather, he's my uncle, he took me into government. We all know his antecedents, super palmsec, very cerebral and everything. He's one of the custodians of Nigerian history and political economy and everything. And he was supposed to be the secretary to the government of of Nigeria at that time. And just before the announcement was made, they decided that, oh no, since a Southeasterner, an Igbo man, was going to be number 3, that is the Senate president, the Wazobia thing, there was going to be a president from the West, a vice president from the North, and the Senate president from the East, as it were, who was an Igbo man. Now, they refused to make it. He was not confirmed as the SGF anymore, which was supposed to be like number 6 or whatever in the hierarchy, because he was an Igbo man. So at that time, he conveniently lost that position because he was Igbo. But they didn't remember that he was also South-South, because the whole idea, they said they had to look for a true South-South Nigerian, and that's how Ufo Tekaite was made the secretary to the government. So you see, when it's convenient, we are not Igbos. When it's convenient, we are South-South. When it's convenient, we are not South-South. When it's not convenient, we are not Igbos. So you see, they can't keep picking and choosing for us all the time. And it is particularly heart-wrenching when I see, hey, we know how Nigeria works. Whether an Igbo man will be president, only God knows. Personally, I want to see that happen, even if you say, yes, the Igbos from the Southeast, have not enjoyed it at this time. But also the Igbos from Anyota Oshimili, who have a skin in the game and who have suffered everything the Igbo man from across the Niger has suffered, has also never been. Don't forget that when Midwest was a region, the first premier, that is the only region that was even created by a referendum in Nigeria, when there were just 4 regions in Nigeria. The first premier was Chief Dennis Osadebe. Yes, he was from Asaba. And he was the premier of Midwest States. Yes, Midwest region, rather. So what I'm saying is that we never lacked the manpower, the capacity of human beings, or that human capital that can deliver on that kind of mandate as the president of Nigeria. So to keep shutting the door at us, using all these, little colorations that are always brought into the matter, you are South now, you are not Igbo now, you are not mainstream Igbo, it just doesn't make sense to me. That is the truth. I just want to put the record straight in terms of what it is we are doing as a country. You see, there are too many injustices in Nigeria already that we are complaining about. I, as an Igbo man, am complaining that an Igbo man has not been president. My father is from Asaba, but he is Igbo. And that is what we are talking about here. That makes me come from the South as a geopolitical zone and an Igbo man.